Sorry about that. My parents just called in the middle of the video, and that stops the video. So anyhow, I was talking about how much stronger that makes that, and it really does do a terrific job for that. So what happens now? Well, now I'm just going to individually, I'm going to go back and I'm going to attach glue onto this. And at this stage, really what these screws are doing for us, they are not the end all. These screws are kind of like clamps, and they're clamping the material on there. One thing is, I want to go around and I'm gonna drill out the second one here. I'm gonna make sure I have labeled up here, up, and all that stuff. And I know that I'm going the exact same way, up, up, up. Okay. I won't label on the back one here because I know I have that on the inside there. I'm gonna drill my second hole in here because I don't want there to be glue on the inside when I put my drill through. I don't know if anybody's experienced that, but if you put glue on, then you drill through to put the screw in, the wood really clogs up into the bit there, into the turns of the bit. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to drill it now while it's dry. I'm not going to put a screw in now. Not necessary. Okay. So, one at a time, I'm going to take them off. I'm going to put glue on them. I'm going to put them back. And I'm going to wipe off any squeeze out that comes as a result of the glue being in there. So, here we go. Okay. I am going to get my glue, which is right here, and I'm going to get some sandpaper that is used stuff that I was using. I'm going to go ahead and pour some sandpaper, put some glue onto this, and I'm also going to get a glue brush to brush onto the front there. So my glue brush is nothing more than an old paintbrush here, small paintbrush. Little glue on my sandpaper. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue the middle there. I'm going to keep everything somewhat centered because it gets squeezed out to the outside there. And I'm going to do the other side as well. And I do predict squeeze out, so I am going to have to address that as soon as I'm done here. This face in here, or the cheek of this rabbit, gets it, and I'll do a little bit over here too. One thing though is that I'm never taking all of these off again, these rails. You know, I took them all off. Now it's one at a time. That's all I'm doing. So I'll set that on there. I'll take my screw. You see how it's stopping? Okay, now you see the squeeze out there. I'm going to get a paper towel. I don't have a sink in here, so I'm just going to use, I have a gallon of water. Put that over top. I'm going to use that to wipe down that glue squeeze out. Check the bottom too. And then this side. You see how it says SQ there for when I squared that up? This whole surface is going to be sanded, so there's no problem out there. That'll be all sanded later on. That was something that we have not addressed whatsoever yet. See at the bottom there. All right, looks good. Okay, so I have 4 screws in there. Now I'm to the top. Take it off. Set it down. I'm getting glue all over the place here. That surface there. That surface there. That surface. And that one. Okay. Set that down. Put that in. I loaded this one up a little bit more well, a little bit more squeeze out with this one, I believe. I just ratcheted up to 16. I wanted to put those in a little bit further. Now I have that squeeze out. That gets wiped off. Squeeze out the bottom. It's wiped off. You want to make sure you're turning your paper towel as you're doing that. You don't want to be wiping glue on an area where you feel like you have just gotten it off. Why is it important to get glue off? Because glue is like a plastic. So like when I go to put a finish on this, let's say I'm just doing a clear coat. I go to put a clear coat on this and it gets absorbed by this porous material, this wood. It doesn't get absorbed where that glue is. So like the place where that glue is going to have a different color than where the rest of the wood is. And it's going to be very obvious and it's going to look junky. So you don't want to do it. Okay, those 2 are on. Back looks good. Squeeze out, good, good. Spin it. Do the top first. Okay, set that down. Get my glue on there. I never pre-drilled this bottom one, so I'm going to get glue in my... I'll be able to show you what I was talking about. Won't that be nice? Okay, and the back side's here. Already had the pre-roll, so I can put that one in. There's this one here that had to be done. So you see in the threading there, it's like it gets goopy, and you don't want that to be happening to your bits. You want to keep your bits clean. But I can put another one on this side here. And also, Makes it tougher when the chips they drilled out have a little bit of glue on them. They want to stay in there. Then you don't want that. It's not the end of the world, but you don't want it. All right, that looks good. Go ahead and get this wiped. You know, I have one little spot here where I can see the glue is in between. It's in this little crack here. So I'm just going to take the head of a screw and try to see if I can just kind of work that out. I don't want that. Okay. Glue squeeze out down the bottom, yes. See if I can put that screw behind this piece of paper towel up. That may help get in there and take up that glue. That looks pretty good. Okay. I could also take a knife, utility knife, just run that blade in there, and that absolutely got it. So that looks real good now. Okay, the other side has quite a bit of run out. Squeeze out also, like that. People always forget this underside here. Okay. All right. Now the bottom one is the last one to do here. Okay. So get some glue in there. Glue here. Glue in here. And then back here. Okay. I'll have to clean that then, but now this goes on. This is the one that has your angle. Oh no, it's not. I apologize. Okay, I'll make sure I'm pulled tight there. Okay, seems good. All right, now I'll go ahead and screw that in. can see here, it looks like that little crack there. So that is something I want to address. You got to remember, when I'm done with this, I'm going to sand this surface again. So if I get a little glue on the end grain there, it's not going to be the end of the world. But I want to get that crack kind of spread open. So I'm just kind of like pushing it back so I can get glue into that location. I can even break that piece off. I'm not going to, but I can. Okay, get that sitting back how it should be sitting. And then the decision has to be made how I'm going to hold that in there. Tape is a pretty good way of doing it, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a clamp. The one issue is that I'm not parallel the front and the back. The back has an angle, so I'm going to use that angle to help focus my crank or my clamp right in that location that I want it. Okay, looks like it's gonna be pretty good. So when I'm done, that should be really easy to sand perfectly. I just want to make sure now that I didn't get any squeeze out down here. Back looks good. And the top looks good. This side here looks reasonable. Okay. That looks good. Looks good. Way up there's a little bit. Get a little more water on here. You know, I very easily could have just done this part while you weren't watching. But I want to make sure that I show the things that that students have go wrong for themselves, and they think it's only them that thinks it's going to go wrong for. So you've seen that I had to correct a couple things in here, and I've done how many of these things? A lot. I've done a lot. So anyways, everything looks good now. It's in there. Things are tight. We're ready to. I have a little bit of squeeze out in the top here, and you can see that where I clamped that piece back on again. That squeeze out doesn't matter. I'll wipe some of it off right now, but it really doesn't matter because I'm going to sand this whole side again. So those squeeze outs aren't that big a deal. All right, the whole side gets sanded. Everything looks pretty good all around. A little bit of glue right there. I'll just kind of pull that out. And then get one last little wipe. Down here looks like just a hair that I could get out. And give it a little wipe. Okay. All right, things look good. So the next thing that we have to do for this is we have to put the plugs into that. And that part I'll do without the camera because I've shown you guys how to do that already, how to cut the plugs and how to put those in. So I'll do that by myself. This has been quite a long video just assembling this stool here. So that's all we're going to have for this week. Next week I'll have the plugs done and we'll start talking about how we're going to do the tops. All right? See you guys.